Hi, my name is Max. This is my presentation for Sociology 3720, Environment and Society. My presentation is on the Ney Farm, or the Ney Nature Center, and malformed frogs. So why I chose the Ney Farm for this presentation? When I was younger, I collected frogs in Minnesota, generally from ponds, lakes, wetlands, so forth. And while I never went to the Ney Farm specifically, I did go to several locations near it. In a couple slides, I'll connect the malformed frogs to the farm, and you'll see how this works. But the history of the location. It's located in Henderson, Minnesota, about an hour's drive southwest of Minneapolis. In 1856, William Ney and Sophia Ney settled the area. So even just a few years prior to Minnesota becoming an official state. This land was eventually donated to Le Sueur County to build the Nature Center. In 1990, in total, 446 acres were donated by the family. Connecting this to the location to malformed frogs. So, in 1995, on August 8th, 8 children from the New Country School go to the Ney Pond for a field trip. One of the students goes down to the lake, picks up a frog, notices it's missing a hind limb. Eventually, the whole class is collecting frogs, and they find that 50% of those collected had either missing or extra hind limbs. All those collected were also northern leopard frogs, which are common in the Midwest. Eventually, part of the Ney family and the teacher of the students contacted the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency regarding this. About a week later, they sent a researcher down to collect frogs, who collected over 100 frogs, and of those, a quarter of them had malformities. So missing eyes, skin between the front and hind limbs, missing or extra digits, occasionally extra feet, extra hands, all sorts of issues. This, of course, news of this got from the Pollution Control Agency. They researched other sites, and eventually this became a widespread enough issue that it reached national coverage. So here's a clip of ABC's Nightline covering it in either 1996 or 97.
Time to evacuate. So it was that back in June, we reported on growing concern in Minnesota, Vermont, and Quebec over the discovery of quite a few deformed frogs. There was any number of theories on what caused the deformities, but no conclusions. Over the summer, significant abnormalities in frogs were also found in Wisconsin, Missouri, New York, Connecticut, Oregon, Washington, and California. Nightline producer Dan Morris and correspondent Chris Bury thought there was enough there to warrant another program. Most of the scientific attention is still focused on Minnesota, where deformed frogs have now been discovered at 85 sites in 21 counties. Here's Chris.
4 potential causes. Pollution is one of them. Agricultural runoffs, so herbicides, pesticides, fertilizers. Those can break down into subsequent chemicals, which can impact the hormones in frogs, which can affect limb development and other things. Heavy metals are another pollutant, which can affect the development of frogs. Specifically, it's been linked to eye development. So higher levels of metals in the water have been correlated to eye deformities in frogs. Another potential cause is parasites, specifically a form of parasitic flatworm that typically start off in snails, um, go from there, burrow into tadpoles and developing frogs. Um, Typically, a small number of those are normal for frogs, but it is seen in a number of hotspots where research was done that they had significantly elevated number of parasites, sometimes in the hundreds, which based on just where they land, if they hit a limb bud, they can affect limb development, and with more parasites, more chances to hit the limb buds. Another potential cause is climate change. Um, Stateside, not much research has correlated to deformed frogs, but in other countries, research done in, I believe, Nigeria and Brazil both have data which correlates climate change to malformations in frogs. There are also other potential causes um, that have been listed to cause malformations in frogs, but there's not much data that properly backs this up. So UV radiation and partial predation, where predators would eat only parts of the frog. Both the theories put forward pretty early on, but not much data recently has come out which supports those theories. For the Nain Nature Center today, um, currently it is a county park and nature reserve, partly funded by the county and partly funded by donations from the community. Um, Currently, it has several acres of native prairies, trails and paths throughout the area, and in the winter they do have cross-country skiing for visitors. Um, do have plenty of volunteer opportunities for those looking to learn regarding nature preservation. They do also have a board run only by volunteers from the community, um, which can be connected to Ostrom's text governing the commons, where a lot of the examples of successfully run small scale, sustainable use of local resources was community run systems with local knowledge, which the Nature Center very much connects to. Nature Center also does run school field trips still, but not many, I believe, have reached national news coverage. Lastly, before ending this presentation, I want to reconnect why I chose this location. So collecting frogs was a big part of my childhood, and the Nature Center is sort of the focal point of a lot of frog research at the time. When I collected a lot of frogs, I generally see malformed frogs occasionally, but it wasn't until I started researching for this project that I understood the mechanisms of why, when research for this started, and all of that. So going from there, that's my presentation. Thank you for watching.